start with you. I mean, your character right off the bat, there's a big like internal struggle there. What can we expect like moving forward as far as how that narrative is going to develop? I mean, you're actively kind of participating in the impression of mutant is like your job, you know, and now it becomes a person.
I'm glad you just added that part, because actively participating in sort of creating this kind of disparity in society. I don't think he thinks he's doing that. I think he thinks he's doing what he does for the good of society, to keep people safe, to you know, and also to keep people with mutant powers who cannot control using them in public away from everybody. So I think he thinks he's doing the right thing. That all changes on a dime when he realizes that his family are going to be affected by this, and that catalyst is what makes him have to consider some of the choices that he's made. He knows that when people go into the mutant detention center, that they are not going to get seen again. They're moving into a very different place, and he doesn't want to lose his kids. And it makes and you know, good drama makes you question your life choices, and that's what he has to do.
When you were like, did you know that this was happening? That was one of the moments in the episode that kind of stuck out to me, and your response, you know, there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that they were going through stuff?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good stuff, isn't it? Because it's talking about what it means to be different, and if we're living in a box where our kids aren't different and our society isn't different, and we're in some kind of gated community where everybody's like, you know, then you're, then is that life? Are you participating in the world? I think they're good questions.
Great scene in the first episode was when the government comes to take your children away in the middle of the night, and your character's politics change. Could you talk about that scene and maybe what the show's message is about awareness and privilege?
Yeah, I think that's a big issue that we try to address it in the show, is that should you, just because something doesn't affect you, does it mean it's not worth fighting for? And I think the complacency that they had with their lives, they're living a very privileged life, they're having wanting for nothing, and now all of a sudden you've got someone at your door saying they're going to take your kids away. I thought it was interesting just saying when she's like, but my husband's a prosecutor, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to help. so it is a quick turn of like, and I think from this point, the questions are then asked about where did we go wrong? Why didn't we ask these questions earlier? How do we make up for this now? How do we change maybe family it goes different directions to try to figure out how we can make other people kind of see this light that we started to see.
And both of you come from franchises or TV shows that are beloved to this day, and now you're moving into a new spot. I'm going to tell you that it's probably going to be the same situation where people are going to love it. Do you feel a sense of do you feel the sense of bigness in this community of genre television?
I think that you know, we've talked about this. Obviously, you know, one doesn't go out when you're sort of building a career and you're working. You don't sort of go out and go, I want to do that kind of work. You sort of try and be open to everything. It's sort of coincidental, really. You know, she's a classical actress. You know, I started out as a classical actor, and you know, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen started out as and still are classical actors. But it's very interesting that you know, the framework of sci-fi, the framework of something like Buffy, or the framework of something like Battlestar Galactica or True Blood, is talking about real life. It's talking about real life issues. You're just using a different framework to tell that story. And I think we're both very interested in what the X world talks about, and it's about otherness. It's about difference. It's a metaphor for civil rights, and the LGBTQ community have obviously embraced it, and being able to tell something that to be in something that ultimately is fun and entertaining
and timely
and about something is I think the thing that I was most taken with this was the idea that this is a superhero show which is about two ordinary people dealing with people who are their own children who turn out to be extraordinary, and how they deal with that, and his paradigm shift, and we're both working to keep the family together. And I think that there's a lot of metaphor and allegory that's very similar to that of true life. You know, coming out of the coffins, you know, and so it's funny how we've sort of ended up in the, you know, back in another sci-fi world and telling a similar story, which is about the importance of what it feels like to be different but stay within the community. That was really long-winded. I'm sorry. I started talking and I couldn't stop.
How deep? How deep is your knowledge within the X world? You know, as you're reading scripts and the fans are watching it, and you're mentioning and referencing the Sentinels and the X-Men and so forth, and the Brotherhood. You know, as an actor, you know, obviously, you know, the audience knows it's part of the X universe. How deep is your knowledge within that?
Well, you have the advantage of being married to her, so you probably knew more than me, but I had seen the movies, and then Marvel was very generous and gave us access to their online comic library, so we got to go back and look, and then we have people like Derek Hoffman who know everything, so if you have any question, you just ask him.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be interviewing us. You should be talking to him.
He knows all.
I think you know, all of that is absolutely true, and the Marvel. I didn't know a lot about it, to be honest. That's honest truth. I was a Spider-Man junkie when I was a kid. I did not do the X-Men comics. I didn't. I was really into Spider-Man, and I was an Indian, and just was. So for me, it's been a sort of exploration. I've seen the movies, obviously, and Anna is part of them, and she gave me a crash course in what it was going to be like to what the expectation is of fans, and also and what it was going to be like to be working with Brian, who she'd worked with 4 times, you know, who we were very privileged to have direct our pilot. So.
Are there any X-Men from the comics that you want to include, that you want to see come into The Gifted that aren't yet?
I liked your answer. We both would like Ian McKellen.
I'd take Ian. That would be a cool double whammy. I'd also take James or Fassbender. You know, it's like I'd be alright with that.
We're not picking.
The X-Men are gone, but you know.
Well, the X-Men are gone. You know, who knows what will happen? It's. I like the idea that we've started with that as our. You know, they've gone. We don't know where they are. They've moved. They've been moved out, or they've been cast out. The whole allegory is about being cast out, and so it's. I keep saying this, but when you've got 9 new characters in a show, we do something in episode 5 which is really interesting, where we take the story in a slightly different direction and look at it from the other side for a minute, which, without going into too much detail, which I think is a really good idea. But we've got 9 people to service, we've got 9 stories to service, and 9 relationships to interweave. And I think it's really important that the audience get to get rooted first. And who knows what happens in the future. If the show's successful, then yes, of course we can bring in other people. But right now, I'm more interested in what we've got between us.